Third POV. With May's frantic press. The video began quickly, the death battle theme playing as it transitioned to various images of the two expert agents. They are the government's best-kept secrets, Wiz started. Masters of stealth, trained to kill in 100 different ways from the shadows or face-to-face. Hawks's brow twitched as Wizard unknowingly described his and Lady Negan's whole career and life under the HPSC. Solid Snake, the legendary soldier of Metal Gear. Boomstick introduced the first fighter. Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell's ultimate predator, was introduced the second. Solid Snake. That's his name. Mineta scratched his head, surprised. It likely could be a code name, Setsuna shrugged. Secret agents and spies always have cool names. Really? What about Sam Fisher? Shui asked. Well, maybe they'll reveal it when they talk about him, Setsuna stuttered, a nervous sweat drop rolling down her head. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. Boomstick introduced themselves. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle, Wiz completed the intro. The first fighter shown already gave them the word secret agent. Just by looking at him. The man stood tall in a skin-tight gray or black full-body suit that hugged his muscled physique like a second skin to the approval of the guys and the slight blushes of the girls, to even lecherous gazes from Mount Lady and Pixie Bob, specifically when they stared at the man's ass that they described as caked up. The black straps of a combat gear harness wrapped around his torso to his thighs, the belt carrying multiple pouches and a holster on his right thigh for his gun. He also wore black combat boots and black straps bound around his biceps, forearms, and lower legs. His most frequent accessories included a black bandana on his forehead and an eye patch over his left eye. The fighter had a rugged, chiseled face, brown hair, and a ducktail-style beard. In some versions of his appearance, though, his brown hair turned white, and his beard was trimmed down to just a mustache. Solid Snake. His name was simply David, and he had one clear purpose in life. Wiz began the first fighter's analysis. Become the successor to the greatest soldier who ever lived. David's shield perked up, pleasantly surprised that he and the first fighter shared the same name. His reaction was shared with All Might and Melissa. Izuku likewise perked up, but not for the same reason as the shields or All Might, or at least, not at first with a former symbol of peace. Izuku quickly focused his whole attention on the fighter as the invisible weight of his similar burden, to surpass the greatest hero who ever lived, felt heavier and yet lighter at the same time. It feels nice to know someone else tasked with something similar, Izuku chuckled to himself. Like I'm not alone with what I have to feel. There was, of course, Shoto and his task to surpass both All Might and Endeavor. However, the difference was that it was something Shoto didn't want, a purpose thrust upon him against his will. Let's see if this David feels the same or not. Why? Because he was cloned from him, Boomstick revealed. Cloned? Melissa questioned, intrigued. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. This origin's a doozy, Boomstick advised knowingly. Oh, so should the kids and I head out? Mirio questioned. Because if so, I think it's Izuku's turn. I do not believe Boomstick meant this backstory was gruesome enough to have the children unable to see it, Mr. Togata, Nizu replied. It sounds more like this origin story is a complicated, even convoluted one. The children are free to remain. However, if it becomes too much, Midoriya will take them outside. Yes, sir. Izuku and Mirio nodded. Stupid adults, Kuta pouted grumpily. Stupid Deku and Tintin, treating me like a little kid. Background. Real name David. Born 1972. Height 6 feet 0 inches / 182 centimeters. Weight 165 pounds / 75 kg. Q 180. Has fought in wars since age 19. Has a strange fetish for cardboard boxes. As a secret government project, David was created using eggs donated by a Japanese scientist and grown in the womb of a femme fatale spy along with 7 other would-be brothers. Wiz began explaining Solid Snake's complicated backstory. Would-be. Ragdoll quirked her head sideways, interested. I'm sorry, but that's the part you are fixated on. Pixie Bob stared questioningly at her friend/teammate. Not implanting 8 kids cloned from some super badass soldier on some scientist. She was almost the original Octomom, Boomstick noted. Except they scrambled 6 of them to somehow empower the remaining 2. And that is clearly more confusing and disturbing, Tiger pointed out. All Might frowned as the numbers mentioned raised red flags in his head. 8. And if you count the soldier they were cloned from, that's 9. All Might thought, glancing over at the 9th and current holder of the transferable quirk and bane of All for One. Coincidence? According to prophecy, one of these twins would bring ruin to the world, while the other would save it, was informed. So, that kind of works out. Works out, Midnight repeated, aghast. That most assuredly implies that these brothers would be enemies. Endeavor flinched as he recalled Tuya's looks of jealous hatred toward Shoto. How the eldest of the Todoroki children nearly struck down the youngest, alongside their own mother. Izuku frowned, memories of his dream within One for All, of All for One creating One for All, unintentionally, by trying to force a quirk onto his younger brother to make him submit. Born to be a soldier, he joined the Green Berets as a teenager and later joined the CIA, the US Army, and finally the high-tech Black Ops group called Foxhound. Boomstick jumped in, showing the logos of the various organizations, including the latter, more unique one, which consisted of a yellow fox, with a knife in its jaws, on a field of black, the name written in yellow above. Its designation as a Special Forces group emblazoned on the side vertically, and traced in emerald green. What a rather distinguished career, David Shield muttered, impressed. Here, his deadly stealth techniques earned him his legendary code name, Solid Snake. Boomstick unveiled David's more recognizable name. Setsuna grinned, her interest in the fighter growing with every added spy element. Her interest as laser-focused and analytical as Midoriya would be with heroes and quirks. I got to ask again, why Solid Snake? Mineta asked again, still confused. Seems rather specific. The snake part could refer to his stealth techniques and skills, while the solid one could convey either his personality, maybe a no-nonsense type, or his military training and strength, a fortitude that contrasts with his snake name. Izuku analyzed, a decade of hero fanboy knowledge dissecting a codename with unknowingly accurate precision. While serving under this Special Forces unit, he received training from the very man he was cloned from, Big Boss, was revealed Snake's technical father. Sounds more like a mafia name, Zero snickered. But on his very first mission from Foxhound, war itself changed, Boomstick said ominously. After infiltrating the military nation Outer Heaven to rescue a fellow agent, Snake uncovered plans for the creation of a gigantic walking weapon that can airmail a nuke to anywhere in the world. It was called Metal Gear. The screen showed the blueprint schematics of the weapon the series was named after. The disturbing implications of such a creation sent shivers down the group's spines. Enough that it even stalled a bit of May's initial enthusiasm for such an advanced-looking baby. A portable nuke-firing mech, Power Loader muttered, shuddering. There are other methods of portable nuclear warheads like submarines, but something like this is on another level. Firing that thing close to a target location like a city could bypass most defenses and strike with terrifying effectiveness. And with how mobile it is, the nuke doesn't even need to hit its target to cause destruction, David Shield nodded grimly. A nation could fire it from inside another country and frame that country as the aggressive party, kickstarting a full-on nuclear war. Nizu frowned, noting to himself to ensure that such a creation would never see the light of day with such capabilities. Although, Nizu suddenly thought, a spark of inspiration lit in his imaginative brain. Without its nuke-firing capabilities, it would be an interesting robot to challenge our students. Despite being a Foxhound rookie, Snake destroyed the Metal Gear and discovered that Big Boss himself was apparently leading the enemy, was revealed. Huh! Pony shouted, confused and shocked. But why? Isn't he a good guy? He's Snake's pa. Loyalties and allegiances can change, especially regarding soldiers and mercenaries, under the right cost and motivation. Endeavor answered, shoulders dropping. Fatherhood is no exception or shield to the same whims and faults of humankind. Shoto blinked, stunned at the openness in his father's tone and demeanor. It's like he wants to admit all he's done, Shoto thought, surprised that the man whose only goal in life was to have his blood as the #1 hero, be it himself or his kin, be so honest that he was willing to incriminate and ruin all that. Hawk stared at his idol with wide eyes. Endeavor was so accurate in his statement that the winged hero briefly wondered whether his idol had somehow uncovered his past and his criminal father. The man who once called himself Kigo Takami shook his head, considering such a conclusion too arrogant and self-centered. Yet, the way Endeavor carried himself, with tired, pain-filled eyes and shoulders weighed down by clear guilt, made the #2 hero warily concerned. After killing his own father supposedly, Snake had had enough and entered early retirement, Wiz continued. Understandable, Ida nodded sympathetically. With such a heralding journey, including having to fight and kill your father, regardless of the circumstances, it is only reasonable to imagine one holding no further interest in such a life. Shoto stared into space while he heard Ida's words, his mind flashing various images of his life and journey, all its pains and turmoil, emotional and physical. It was a wonder, even to himself, how Shoto still hadn't turned his back on the hero society that embellished his abusive father. Then Shoto thought back to his memory of his mother, of the two of them watching All Might on the TV, the inspirational quotes from both his idol hero and his mother, encouraging him to be whatever he wanted to be. And if it was to be a hero, then the kind of hero he wanted to be, not his father. Shoto softly smiled, idly calling himself a fool for forgetting that memory for so long. But since he had single-handedly destroyed a walking nuke shooter and the greatest soldier who ever lived, Snake became the next soldier of legend, Boomstick pointed out. Any time a new Metal Gear showed up, Snake was pulled back into the fray. When all he really wanted to do was get drunk in Alaska and dog sled race with his 50 huskies. Talk about living the dream. The Iditarod, the longest sled race in the world. When did you become a dog musher? Colonel Campbell questioned. Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. Kaminari memed. So, he's pretty much a super soldier Rambo, Zero summarized Snake's character. I thought Rambo was already a super soldier, Tetsutetsu asked. He might as well be, Kirishima chuckled. Koda smiled at Snake's idealistic retirement life, finding it a peaceful life, excluding the drinking. Turns out Big Boss wasn't quite as dead as people thought, was revealed another plot twist. Well, of course, Setsuna rolled her eyes, throwing her hands in the air quite literally even. Because evil Sonyevabiches just never stay as dead as you want them to. All Might winced and rubbed his side, finding Setsuna's comment truer than she knew. Even after Snake burned him alive with nothing but a lighter and a can of hairspray dash. History's greatest soldier, everyone, Boomstick exclaimed sarcastically. Yikes, that would be quite a sucky way for such a guy to go out, Kaminari hissed. Probably would get laughed at by all the guys he helped put in hell. True, Mirio nodded, cupping his chin before grinning widely. You could say that would burn him right up? If I pay you money, will you stop with the horrible puns? Shinso legitimately asked. These Metal Gears kept showing up, Wiz jumped back in. Soon, Snake was an expert at destroying these robotic behemoths. Izuku and Melissa smiled at what seemed to be another example of a quirkless hero, or as adjacent to the idea as Snake could be. The two had suspicions that Zero's labeling of Solid Snake as a super soldier was likely accurate, potentially in the same vein as Captain America, in that he was experimented on to be superhuman. However, with no visible superpower, Solid Snake still appeared to look like a badass super agent capable of destroying highly advanced weapons of war by himself. The idea made Izuku think about the entrance exams robots. If I had still been rejected by All Might and I didn't get one for all, could I have still gotten into UA? Izuku asked himself. The green-haired teen wanted to believe he could. Koda and Hagakure were proof that finding and hitting their shutdown switch was an alternate way of earning villain points. And there were, of course, the rescue points, yet his own performance made Izuku doubt he would have done the same. Even with one for all, he hadn't been able to earn a single villain point, either too slow, too scared, or too inexperienced to take down a single robot. Izuku wasn't sure he could have shut them down, even if he'd known about the shutdown switches, considering how much he froze during the exam. Izuku's fists clenched as the mental image of his frightened self made his insides boil in shame and anger. I changed and grown out of that, but I can't afford to be so weak again, Izuku thought, declaring to continue training and strengthening his resolve to never freeze up or be that scared, useless Deku ever again. He even piloted a Metal Gear to destroy another Metal Gear that was designed to kill Metal Gears, Boomstick declared, his voice rising in awe of the legendary agent's sheer awesomeness. Whoa! Pay attention, young zygotes. Just like with Snake's scenario as pros, you will likewise face certain matchups against villains who possess quirks that could render yours inactive or ineffective. All Might buffed up and declared to the students. However, despite the odds, a true hero overcomes all obstacles with their greatest tool, their wits and minds. If you can hold strong, strengthen your resolve, and use your instincts and wits, you can overcome all obstacles and prevail. A quirk is but a tool. The true measure of a hero lies within the person themselves. The words from the former symbol of peace rang heavy within the students, from those with non-flashy or combative quirks like Kodai, Hagakure, and Koda, and ones often labeled with villainous quirk, like Shinso, to even those who didn't possess quirks originally or at all, like Izuku and Melissa. The shield girl stared up at her surrogate uncle, eyes wet and sparkling with stars and unshed tears. She heard the same words of encouragement from Izuku not too long ago, that she could be, and was already, a hero without a quirk. But hearing it from her hero uncle that she looked up to as much as her father struck just as deeply. A hand clenched over her heart as she envisioned herself flying through the skies in her imagined suit of armor, gleaming gold and emerald, determined to make such a dream a reality, to show the world what a quirkless girl was made of. Izuku blinked, frozen at his idol's and mentor's words, surprised by how appropriately timed they were, considering his recent thoughts. The bitter memories of his past blunders in the exam were brushed aside to give way to his destruction of the zero-pointer and, more importantly, his rescue of Ochiko. That's right. When the time came to prove my worth, I did it without thinking, without any reason or gain other than her safety. That was all that mattered to me, and it got me where I am now. Izuku glanced at his best friend, one of the girls who bore a piece of his heart, even if she didn't know it yet, a small smile spreading on his face. Those mistakes are in the past. If I had to do it all over again to save her, I'd do it all the same. Bakuga's mouth was in a thin line, his eyes hidden by the shadow of his hair. He should have felt inspired by the words of his idol, and to an extent he was. His quirk was strong. Everyone knew that, everyone told him that. But it was only as great as it was because Bakuga trained it to be so, calculated and strengthened it with his battle instincts and brains. What prevented him from fully appreciating All Might's words was the reminder of who he had used as the training dummy, the punching bag, to test and hone his quirk. Someone who better fit All Might's description of a true hero. Yet he still felt that he himself did not belong in that role, not yet. Maybe not ever. But Snake did not earn his reputation as the icon of stealth by going in, guns blazing, was pointed out. Although he knows how to use almost any weapon he finds, he keeps his load light by entering missions with only the bare essentials. Smart, Setsuna nodded, smirking. Minimal gear maximizes his stealth skills, and his dexterity helps him adapt to any situation he finds himself in. Izuku couldn't help but shudder at how hot Setsuna sounded when she sounded so analytical. Weapons and equipment. 1911 operator. Pistol used for lethal shots. Stun knife. Houses a non-lethal electric charge that emits through the blade. Tsukumo. Smart camouflage that blends its coloring and heat signature into the environment. Holodyte. Has night vision, reveals IR heat signatures and footprints. Displays a radar which picks up nearby biosignatures. Snake carries a Ruger Mark II pistol with tranquilizer darts, perfect for silent takedowns. Boomstick began listing Snake's arsenal. But if he wants to get lethal, he whips out his 1911 operator, one of my favorite handguns ever. What beauties! Snipe whistled, tipping his hat in respect of the gun, while idly pondering if he could commission such guns from Power Loader. And he's got a stun knife, which is like if a taser and a knife had a baby. Ha! Want to add that to your ever-growing armada of weapons you want to lug around, dude? Zero asked teasingly. Ha. Kaminari rolled his eyes, shaking his head. But really, nah. It would be cool to have, not gonna lie, but knives aren't my thing. Ooh, killer why? Yeah, like an electric whip, a laser shooting energy lance, or just electricity itself isn't life-threatening at all, Aways commented sarcastically. While she knew that Away's comments were mostly good-natured ribbing, Melissa made a note to add safety measures and limits on the various support tools Kaminari wished and Izuku suggested for his blonde classmate. All three of which he incorporates into his specialized fighting style. CQC, Boomstick revealed. A brutal mix of hand-to-hand combat and gunplay taught to him by Big Boss himself. Oh, so it's the train the very guy who's going to stand against you tactic there. Jiro lampshaded the trope. Wonder how he lost. Perhaps this Big Boss was under the impression that he could have turned his son to his side, reasons whatever they may be, Ida rationalized. Snipe's eyes analyzed Snake's fighting style as best he could. He would have asked Midoriya for some notes on anything he missed if the mental image of himself looking too giddy for a pro and teacher hadn't stung at his pride. Preferring to remain unseen, these weapons wouldn't do Snake much good without other tools to keep him hidden from his enemies, Wiz said. Snake's outfitted with his Octo Camo, a smart camouflage which can match the color, texture, and temperature of Snake's surroundings. Ooh, now that's an amazing baby, May exclaimed, grin wide as she wrote in her notebook. The perfect way to blend into any environment. Urban, forest, bad guy hideout, capable of hiding from even thermal reading or sensing quirks or gadgets. Hey Setsuma, if we can incorporate that into your organic hero suit, it can still function as effectively as before and make you almost undetectable to any villains. Firstly, it's Setsuna, Tokage corrected the pink-haired one, almost scoffing at how the inventor could still be so bad with names even among the ones in the same sisterhood as theirs. And secondly, if you can do that, I'll straight up hire you as my personal exclusive support item creator for life. Yeah, sure, make her more invisible than me, Hagakure muttered, wrapping her arms insecurely around herself. Make me practically irrelevant. Oh, I almost forgot. If we can perfect this Octo Camo for ourselves, we can also finally come up with a perfect hero suit that can blend with your quirk's unique function. May switched her enthusiastic gaze and grinned to Hagakure. Think about it. A fully functional hero suit that you can switch on and off to turn as invisible as you and offer greater protection than walking around stark nude. Ooh, maybe if we can tune the wavelengths to the right frequency, we could even make it so that it affects your quirk enough to make you visible in your everyday clothes. Wouldn't that be neat, huh, Tori? Toru stared dumbfounded at the inventor. Toru, Hagakure muttered, shifting her whole body to nod up and down. Why yeah, that would be cool. In Hagakure's mind, all offense she might have had about Hatsum working to undermine her whole gimmick, one of the only things she had going for her, vaporized, replaced by rapidly growing friendship and camaraderie with her fellow sisterhood member. Aizawa hummed as he witnessed Hagakure bond with Power Loader's star problematic student, silently approving. Having a good support item inventor at your ready call can give you an advantage, Aizawa thought rationally. He shifted his gaze toward Shinso and down to his own hero suit. A stealth suit like that would work wonders for both of us too. Hold up, wait a minute, back it up, Sen exclaimed, raising his hands while staring at the screen, incredulously. Is Snake really sneaking around in a cardboard box? Not even the gecko bots, with their infrared and night vision tracking, can find Snake in this camo, Boomstick noted. These various machines are giving me new ideas for robots to test our students against. Nizu chuckled, his tone screaming evil mastermind to everyone around him. The students and teachers shivered in dread at the idea of Nizu forcing Power Loader to create the same Metal Gears that could evidently fire actual nukes onto the former group. Meanwhile, May looked like she had opened another amazing Christmas present, writing down the GeckoBot design in hopes of aiding Power Loader in their creation. Power Loader and Melissa, while as invested and intrigued as they were, stared at Nizu and Mei with sweat drops in their heads and concern in their gazes. Plus, he's always aware of his surroundings, thanks to his high-tech eye patch, the Solid Eye. Boomstick unveiled one of Snake's most iconic gadgets. He's not actually missing an eye, was pointed out. It's more like a monocle from the future, with infrared, night vision and radar. Interesting, Edgeshot muttered, cupping his chin through his suit's scarf. The appearance of an eye patch without needing one could likewise put any guard that spots him into a false sense of security. They could attempt to strike at the side with the eye patch, only to get caught off guard even in the open. The way it glows kind of reminds me of the glow of your eyes when you use your quirk, Eraser? Present Mike chuckled, nudging his elbow on the man's rib. Aizawa said nothing, even as he suddenly felt an itchiness in his right eye. What's important is that with such a useful gadget, it could give Solid Snake a great advantage in a stealth-based battle, Ectoplasm said. Snake's also been injected with nanomachines, which energize his body and his codec, an internal radio system, was continued. The codec allows two-way communication, which is 100% silent, almost like telepathy. We have little time, so I'll be brief. How about switching to nano-communications first? Suggested. Silence beats talk when it comes to safety. A camera zoomed in on the two yet picked up no audio from them, causing the man watching them to scoff. Guys, they got tech that makes your quirk obsolete, fearless leader, Pixie Bob said teasingly toward Shino. Mandalay tried not to respond to Ryuko's taunt, though a jealous twitch in her eyes conveyed her slight annoyance at how her quirk was shown up so badly in this other world. Izuku's and Melissa's shoulders slumped lightly, their theory over Snake's super soldier status proven correct by those nanomachines, yet they still stared at the secret agent with the same measure of praise and respect. Feeding him info from the other side of the codec is his best friend, Hal Emmerich, aka Otakun. Boomstick introduced Snake's man in the chair. Support. Real name, Hal Emmerich, a.k.a. Otakun. Founding member of Philanthropy. Computer expert and hacker. Designed Metal Gear Rex. Hacked the FBI, US Army, and Arms Tech. Removed the AI controlling the Patriot system. Super dedicated otaku. A pathetic cowering nerd with horrible bladder control. Boomstick continued, lightly mocking the man. But he's also really good at hacking computer systems, so I guess he gets by. Give him enough time. And Otakon can hack into any top-secret facility. Interesting, Nizu hummed. It's likely they will utilize Otakon during the death battle. Wouldn't that violate the rules about receiving any aid during the battle? Midnight asked. Not if this Sam Fisher likewise receives similar support, Vlad King replied. The battle could probably be influenced by who could be the better hacker and tech support. Ugh, come on man. Wetting your pants. When you're not even the one in danger most of the time. Mineta cringed, gagging in disgust. Won't find me acting like that, says the perv who was close to shitting his diaper of a costume in the USJ. Azui croaked. Oh, critical hit. Ciro hissed at Azui's burn. Hey, that was a scary situation when we were only in school for a few days. Mineta defended himself, cheeks burning. And it's not a diaper. It's supposed to resemble a bowl of grapes. Sorry dude, but it does kind of look like a diaper, Kaminari admitted, a victorious teasing grin on his face. Mineta narrowed his eyes at his best friend, aware that the blonde was getting back at him for ratting him and the others out yesterday. The purple grape-headed teen gave a "I'm watching you" gesture. Miruko wrinkled her nose and scoffed in disgust, both at the meek pants-wetting Otakon and the whimpering pervert of Class 1A, both the last type of guys she would ever date. Feats. Blew up a tank using grenades. Overcame his own genetically superior twin clone brother, Liquid Snake. Twice defeated the legendary soldier he was cloned from, Big Boss. Survived microwave bombardment for 3 straight minutes. Has defeated snipes, ninjas, psychics and more. Apart from Big Boss, Snake has defeated cybernetic ninjas, psychics, his own twin, Liquid Snake, and of course several giant Metal Gears. Was listed more of Snake's feats. Liquid snake. Mount Lady quirked an eyebrow. Oh, get it. Evil twin, the opposite of solid. Clever. Carry on. He can wield a railgun as powerful as a tank with his bare hands, and once blew up an actual tank using nothing but a couple of grenades. Boomstick added. Manly. Tetsu exclaimed, grinning. And once he powered through a sealed hallway while being bombarded with microwaves, and survived. Was added too. Who throws microwaves at people? Come on. Boomstick questioned and scoffed. No, Boomstick, it's more like he was inside a giant microwave, was clarified. Excuse me, I'm gonna need them to explain further. He what? Momo shouted, eyes bulging almost comically out of their sockets. My God. Think of the size of a hot pocket you could make with that. Boomstick exclaimed excitedly. Honestly, how can one guy be so dumb and irritating? Jiro groaned, pinching the bridge of her nose. Simple minds think simple things, Azui simply answered. Under the effects of microwaves, a normal man's skin would deteriorate in about 2 to 3 seconds, was explained. Snake lasted more than 3 minutes. Manly. Kirishima and Tetsuta roared, manly tears firing out of their eyes like geysers. I sincerely hope you don't exclaim that loud during the fight, Shoji said, sweat dropping. I believe the immersion of a stealth will be ruined with such volume. Oh yes, sorry, Kirishima apologized. And any guy that can last 3 minutes is a goddamn stallion, Boomstick declared. Now I know why they call him Solid. Wait, really? 3 minutes. That's it. Izuku perked his head, surprised and confused, muttering quietly to himself. Takes way longer for me. You make it sound like it takes longer for you to get off, huh, Midoriya? Azui noted. The girl's head tilt and expressionless eyes made Izuku's blush all the harder. Oh, Midori, do my ears deceive me? Mina's grin looked close to splitting her face in two. Did you admit to playing Boppin the Weasel, if you know what I mean? Izuku's blush reached thermonuclear levels. Hey, leave our comrade alone. Mineta's exclamation drew the girls' and Izuku's attention. The purple pervert standing on his beanbag like an even shorter Napoleon. There is nothing to laugh at or mock a man for relieving himself. It is a perfectly natural act for lowering one's stress. I will not stand by and let a perfectly normal upstanding man be mocked by you hypocrites, who I'm sure have pet your kitties from time to time. The girls blushed scarlet red, steam practically pouring out of every pore of their faces. Most of their instincts told them to wallop the crass pervert till he was a purple smear on the floor. However, the determination in his eyes and fearlessness to defend Midoriya from their teasing, regardless of whether it was light or too far, forced them to find Mineta at the moment somewhat commendable, even respectful to their disbelief. Thanks Mineta-san. Izuku scratched his cheek as he thanked his classmate, a small smile on his face. Thanks are not necessary, my fellow degenerate. Mineta bowed dramatically. Live long and fap to your heart's content. Okay, you're pushing it, Midoriya warned, his blush growing back even as he stared strongly at his classmate. Mineta took the hint and sat back down on his bean bag, arms behind his head, content. What the fuck just happened? Zero asked, questioning his reality. I don't know, man. Kaminari shook his head. I don't know. I didn't know the girls had kitties, Eri said, her comical thought bubble picturing actual cats. Can I pet them too? The sisterhood girls flushed bright red, mortified by what innocent Eri unknowingly asked. No Eri-chan, they don't have cats, Koda spoke up, garnering Eri's attention. But when we get back to the dorms, you can pet Yui-chan if you'd like. Eri brightened up at the prospect of petting Koda's adorable rabbit. Yes, thank you, Uncle Koda. Eri cheered and thanked. The sisterhood girls sighed in relief, sending thankful stares and smiles at the shyest teen of their class and their lifesaver. Kami bless you, Uncle Koda, the girls thought in unison, labeling Koda under the same sweet title Eri dubbed him. But seriously, this guy is built Tonka tough, though he's hardly perfect, Boomstick noted. His Octo Camo provides only light protection against knives and other weapons. And even though he's in peak physical condition, one well-placed bullet will put him down as easily as any other man. The price of stealth, I'm afraid, Toru sighed sympathetically. Reminds me of the same weaknesses they talked about with Batman and Captain America, Todoroki commented. Though the same can apply to most of us. One good fatal hit, and it could be the end of us. Todoroki absently rubbed his arm where Stain's tossed knives had embedded themselves in their fight. Also, cloning and nanomachines don't mix, was revealed, showing Snake go from a man in his late 20s to an older-looking man. By the time he was 35 years old, they caused Snake to begin aging rapidly and even suffer heart issues and seizures. Toshinori perked up in alarm. Just like the fourth, Toshinori thought dreadfully. He remembered the horrifying discovery he made during his research on past users of One for All, the last user for whom he could find any information. The second and third were complete mysteries with no surviving records of their pasts or connections. The same went with the first, which was expected given the chaotic era of the dawning of quirks. Toshinori had managed to find info on the fifth user, Daigoro Banjo, and the sixth, Entayutai. And the eighth wielder didn't need to dig much about his predecessor, the seventh bearer, Nana Shimura. But it was the fourth user, Hikage Shinomori, the furthest One for All user he could dredge up any info on, that had Toshinori pale so much he scribbled out much of what he had written down from the notes he shared with Midoriya. The man had lived in seclusion as a hermit, making his info even harder for All Might to find, but what he could gather was that he must have held the quirk for at most 20 years, and in that last year, he entrusted it to the Banjo before dying. However, it wasn't All for One or some other villain that killed the fourth, but something more haunting and terrifying. Old age at 40. One day he looked his age and the next, his body aged rapidly, with hair turning white, bones becoming brittle and weak, and two scar-like cracks appearing down his face. Toshinori was confused and horrified by the effects, and knew that such a random and sudden change must have been because of One for All. But that only confused him further, since none of the other users of One for All had shown such similar effects, especially Nana, whom Toshinori knew personally. But then, as former Pro realized in his notes, he found that unlike Shinomori, the later three wielders of the transferable quirk didn't hold onto the quirk for the same amount of time as Shinomori, let alone Toshinori himself, maybe a few years, but never long, all dying young and quickly thanks to All for One's relentless hunt for his brother's quirk. Toshinori then thought of himself and how he held the quirk for almost twice as long as Hikage and showed no ill effects of the quirk that had doomed the fourth to an earlier grave. His gaunt state was a result of his injury from All for One and his years using the quirk despite his body's deterioration from the wounds. The only effect of One for All was Toshinori's inability to wield it without a worsening time limit, which only grew worse after he passed the quirk to Izuku Midoriya and was left with its fleeting embers. Toshinori pondered what separated him from Hikage, that he could survive with the quirk for so long with no damage, and Hikage didn't. Then the obvious truth smacked Toshinori so hard. He wondered for a moment if Gran Torino or Recovery Girl had whacked him with their canes hard. Hikage already had a quirk, Danger Sense, when he took on One for All. I didn't, Toshinori realized. When looking at the victims of All for One's machinations and experiments, they turned into the Nomu or burned up and turned into brain-dead husks that would die shortly afterward, and All Might saw the comparison as clear as day. Too many quirks inside one body could destroy it from within, burning out their vitality and life force, and the more quirks they received or how powerful they are, the process is faster and worse, and One for All had already accumulated 3 generations of power and quirks when Hikage bore it. But for All Might, he was quirkless. He didn't have a quirk before One for All, and thus it blended well with him. He made it his own quirk and survived. But then, what about young Midoriya? Toshinori thought, worryingly glancing at the 9th wielder of One for All. Quirkless like Toshinori, but unlike him, Midoriya was able to wield the stored copies of the past wielder's quirks, displaying the sheer change and strength One for All had cultivated over time. But can a quirkless person like Midoriya still be safe now? Has One for All grown too strong even for a quirkless person? And if not now, will it still doom young Midoriya in the future? Could a 10th wielder even be possible should the need to pass it on arrive? The questions burned hauntingly in Toshinori's mind, yet decades of hero work taught the former pro to steady his mind and focus. The danger was still looming and ever-present, but so was Shigaraki and the horrible plans All for One had for the boy who was his master's grandson, a danger that was more imminent and present than future was. Toshinori will spend the remainder of his days trying to find the answer for his surrogate son's sake. The best thing he can do for now is to continue what he has always done. Train Izuku Midoriya, help him grow stronger for the challenges to come. Old and wrinkly or not, you can count on Solid Snake to see every single mission through, Boomstick stated. And be a badass the whole time. There's a reason he's known as the man who makes the impossible possible. Izuku grinned, impressed and inspired by Solid Snake's history, skills and perseverance. Plus ultra, Izuku whispered respectfully. I'm no hero, Snake grumbled broodingly, turning his back on a woman with shoulder-length auburn hair and a black bandana. Never was. Never will be. You haven't changed at all, Snake, Meryl Silverberg sighed. The first fighter left a great impression on the group, with students and pros alike nodding in respect of the super soldier's skill and fortitude despite the dangers and tragedies of his life since birth. His arsenal and gadgets likewise impressed them, yet there were worries over his durability, given his lightweight armor and deteriorating body. Izuku did not know why, but something about the agent stirred something within himself, something deep within one for all, as if recognizing and acknowledging a fact so serious, it sent shivers up Midoriya's spine. The second fighter had a look that practically screamed good for his age. He stood shorter than Snake by a couple of inches, yet looked every bit as grizzled and tough as the super soldier. He was often seen wearing camo-colored, armored attire, ranging from gray to black to dark green. The man had short graying to outright gray hair and a short to full beard along his chiseled chin. Something within the women of the group couldn't help but take one look at him and have a unanimous conclusion that he had a dad vibe about him. However, the most consistent element of his appearance was the unique headgear strapped over his head, resting animatedly on his forehead. Its straps and metal frame were black and held a roughly triangular shape, framing around 3 glowing neon green specks. Sam Fisher. Samuel Leo Fisher was born in Towson, Maryland in 1957, with started Fisher's analysis. Whoa, he's older than I thought, Boomstick exclaimed, surprised. No kidding, he looks great for his age, Pixie Bob smirked hungrily. If it weren't for that gray hair, I would think he was at most in his mid-30s. Background. Full name: Samuel Leo Fisher. Codename Zero. Born April 17, 1957. Height: 5 feet 10 inches / 178 centimeters. Weight: 170 pounds. /77 kilograms. Ambidextrous. Possesses the fifth freedom, the legal right to break the law in order to uphold the greater good. Proficient in Krav Maga. Apparently owns an elephant. Orphaned at a young age. He spent his youth at a military boarding school, was continued. His goal was to join the CIA and follow in the footsteps of his late father. Geez man, why does every guy have to be orphaned, and young at that? Kirishima asked sadly. Hardship often breeds greatness, whether for the light or the dark, Tokoyami said sage-like. It is debatable whether without such hardships, many great heroes would never come to be as strong and unbreakable as they are. Yeah, maybe you're right, Kirishima muttered, blinking as he thought about his own life and struggles against his self-worth and courage, wondering if, in a predestined kind of way, if his issues and guilt over not acting against what he now knows as gigantomachia was the universe's way of toughening him up, its trial placed on his shoulders whether or not to carry it and become as manly a hero as he could be. The thought put a small smile on Ejiro's face. Sam's career in government work was an impressive one, joining both the CIA and the Navy SEALs, Boomstick mentioned. Both joined the CIA, but he joined the Navy SEALs while Snake was a Green Beret and joined the U.S. Army. Melissa compared Fisher's and Snake's careers of service. Is there a difference? Tsuburaba asked, confused by the various military groups. The Green Berets are a special army special forces branch focused on unconventional warfare and mostly deal with reconnaissance and foreign internal forces and local resistance like terrorist groups, David began to explain. But as for the SEALs, they specialize in marine operations and direct actions, demolitions, and combat in nearly all forms of combat and terrain, whether sky, sea, or land. It means that Fisher has potentially further experience and ability to adapt in any kind of environment he and Snake will fight in. However, Snake can potentially match him in adaptability given his training under the Berets, Izuku analyzed. During this time, he found he had a particular knack for espionage. And ladies, Boomstick said. I can hear the perverse grin on his face. Jiro rolled her eyes. See, on one of his missions, he fired off a few rounds into the wrong target and knocked her up, Boomstick explained. So, he married her, they had a daughter named Sarah, and Sam Fisher lived happily ever after. Something tells me that's complete bull, Kamakiri raised an eyebrow. No, wait, he got divorced after 3 years, and his ex died of ovarian cancer, Boomstick suddenly revealed. Left with no other family but his daughter, Sam retired at just 47 years old, was stated. This time he'd spend the rest of his days in peace. Really? Pony, obliviously naive, asked hopefully. QCK. In 3, 2, 1. Hawks muttered, gesturing to the screen just in time. Ha 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 ha. Both Wiz and Boomstick laughed. As if, we all know how it goes, Wiz exclaimed. Ah, Pony pouted sad. Cute, Shoto thought. Sam was too good to leave the agent's life forever, and was recruited by 3rd Echelon, a top-secret sub-branch of the NSA, was revealed. 3rd Echelon wanted Sam for their new Black Ops unit, focused on infiltrating impenetrable locations, extracting information, and escaping even the most impossible scenarios. They called it the Splinter Cell program. Oh yeah, let me come out of retirement and do that. The completely impossible, Boomstick scoffed. You know what happens if you say that meme again, Jiro warned, her gaze remaining on the screen while her rose dangerously. Kaminari's mouth sealed shut, miming sealing his lips and throwing away the key. Sam was shown putting a guard in a chokehold. Talk, but talk quietly, Sam demanded. I'll tell you anything, the guard choked out as Sam dragged him forward throughout the area. I'm the biggest coward you've ever met. That's quite a claim, Sam remarked. I've already wet myself, the guard admitted. Well, then you've made the top 10, Sam likewise admitted. Well, at least he was honest, Aways said hesitantly. Monoma facepalmed. Well, luckily, like other agents of stealth, Sam Fisher didn't have to work alone, Boomstick said. Support. Real name. Anna Grimsdottir. Pay Grim Reaper. Technical Operations Officer for 4th Echelon. A master hacker. Was temporarily the director of 3rd Echelon. Acts as an extension of Sam's eyes and ears on the field. His support comes from Anna Grimsdottir, or Grim, who communicates with Sam through subdermal implants in his ear, was introduced Sam's woman behind the monitor. So, where Octagon will support Snake, Grim will do the same for Fisher, Shoda muttered. Wonder if the two will end up in a battle to hack the other systems. Subdermal implants? Manga questioned. Question marks appearing on his text bubble head. You! Boomstick groaned, disgusted. It's just a tiny earpiece which operates by directly vibrating the bones of his inner ear, so only Sam can hear her, was clarified. Similar to the codec, however, while he can only hear Grim, Fisher would have to verbally reply, which Snake or Octagon could hear or pick up on, Melissa analyzed. So, she's vibrating his bones, eh? Boomstick inquired perversely. What is with you today? Was questioned his co-host. I dunno, Boomstick admitted sadly. Dude seriously needs to get laid like pronto, Hawk snickered, a twitch of his eyes showing his admitted concern for his fellow man. I think that's the problem. He's too perverse and crass to get any woman to sleep with him, Miruko scoffed. As if you're any better, Ryukyu raised an eyebrow at her best friend, who she knows hasn't had any action in a long time. I only respect the strong, and if they are too big of wimps to keep up with me and my style, they aren't worth my time. Miruko defended herself and her lack of partners, munching on a carrot. Grim is a world-class hacker who started as third echelon's lead programmer, and might be aging backwards, but that's irrelevant, was stated, confused at Grim's backward design progression, before brushing it off. Lucky bitch, Pixie Bob muttered bitterly as she drank from her cup. Together, they are a formidable team. Although Sam and Grim have very different approaches to a mission and can sometimes butt heads, Wiz explained their dynamic further. While Grim is very by the books, Fisher prefers to follow his instincts. For better or worse, he will completely abandon a well-laid plan over a mere hunch. Surprisingly, this works out better than you'd think. Luck tends to run out, and that reckless streak may run its course come the death battle, Endeavor warned. Yet it's ultimately beneficial for them to be so different, Ryukyu stated. Sometimes being too rigid and by the book can leave no room for adaptability and improvisation. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. And all that, right? Fat Gum suggested. Exactly, Ryukyu nodded. And at the same time, a well-organized and tactical mind can keep the most reckless hotheads from crashing and burning. It's all about striking a great balance. Ida's face furrowed contemplatively, staring at his own hands as he compared the suicidally reckless version of himself, the one that went after Stain without much of a plan to defeat him, where seasoned pros failed, and his rigid, uncompromising state that often left him playing catch-up with his classmates, especially Midoriya and Bakugo. See, you don't always have to plan out every little detail about every little thing, Boomstick yelled pointedly. I thought we agreed never to discuss that trip. Wiz groaned. I just wanted a chuo, but no, it wasn't in the schedule. Boomstick repeated past Wiz's words mockingly. Bet it was delicious. Oh, shut up, Boomstick, Wiz said, the audience practically hearing him rolling his eyes. I'll kill you, Boomstick threatened lightly. All Might formed a fond yet sad smile on his face. The dynamics of Fisher's and Grimm's partnership, and the bickering between Wizard and Boomstick, reminding him of his days with Night Eye. Where he was the impulsive one, Night Eye was the tactical, pragmatic one. Toshinori remembered how they often grilled one another for their differing approaches, All Might calling Night Eye too rigid, and he, in turn, was called too reckless by his sidekick. Yet no matter their differences, the two worked well together, the brain and brawn, bouncing off each other as a well-coordinated team. Toshinori's smile dropped as the memories took him back to when they broke their partnership. His stubborn convictions pushing Night Eye away, leaving a man who cared about him to desperately find a way to replace All Might with a carbon copy so that he wouldn't have to be All Might anymore. If I had listened to you then, would things be different? All Might asked no one but himself and the ghosts of his past. Would you still be here with us, old friend? Laughing at Boomstick's and young Togata's poor puns. Bonding with young Midoriya. Approving of his analytical skills. Training him better than I ever could. As expected, All Might received no answer. Grim directs Sam's movements, keeping him invisible on the field, along with the latest in stealth gear. Was continued the analysis. Weapons and equipment. 5.7 pistol. Uses armor piercings 190 rounds. C. 20k MEWS. Can switch into assault rifle, shotgun and sniper rifle attachments. Deploys miscellaneous ammo, including sticky stalkers, rubber bullets and sticky cameras. Mark 8 tactical operations suit. -8mm thick, weights 4 pounds. Composed of Kevlar, Rhino plate, and Gore-Tex. Multi-vision goggles. Capable of night, thermal, and sonar vision. He sports the Mark 8 tactical operations suit, a light diffusing black armor that's layered with Kevlar and Rhino plate to help protect against bullets. Boomstick began the listing of Sam's gear. Sounds like he's got the more protective armor compared to Snake's, Tetsu commented. Fisher's can actually defend against bullets, and the other barely can. Yeah, but I can see a place where a perfectly aimed bullet can take him out, Shinso muttered, knocking his knuckle onto his head. Yui's smirk rose slightly, finding Shinsu's wit amusing and charming. along with a layer of Gore-Tex, a material that suppresses his heat signature to make him invisible to night vision, was added. Gore-Tex. That name sounds familiar, Nijire muttering, her cheeks puffing as she made a comical thinking face that Izuku found adorable. That's because it's the same name as Gore and Associates' own Gore-Tex, a waterproof, windproof, and breathable fabric membrane designed for protection and comfort, Momo explained. Its real-life purpose is to block liquid water while allowing water vapor to pass through, not suppress heat signature enough to be invisible to night vision. Different world, different rules, I suppose, Todoroki shrugged. Recall how Deathstroke's Prometheum suit, and how different it was in that world. Or the various metals that don't exist here, like Gundanium, Jiro added, a teasing smirk rising on her lips. Okay, I get the point, Momo huffed, crossing her arms below her sizable chest, pouting. Doesn't mean I have to like it. May and Melissa shared a sympathetic look between them, understanding Yairosa's plight as fellow appreciators of science and reason. They nodded once more, silently agreeing to discuss with the raven-haired girl the opportunity of a lifetime. Regardless of the rules of physics between our worlds, what is apparent is that while his suit may conceal him from night vision, it hardly appears able to camouflage like snakes, Tokoyami pointed out. Speaking of night vision, Sam has that and more, Boomstick said. His multi-vision goggles come equipped with thermal vision, sonar, a zoom function, and even footprint tracking, to ensure that Fisher can see you, even if you can't see him. In fact, he's so stealthy that while he can track footprints left behind by others, his own trail is completely undetectable, even by him. Ooh, mama likey. May grinned, extremely pleased and impressed with Fisher's goggles, unable to compare them with her own goggles designed to pair nicely with her zoom quirk. One better armored and stealthy enough to not leave footprints, but not enough to camouflage himself, while the other can do the latter, but isn't as durable, Izuku muttered as he analyzed the two fighters' tools and skills. Izuku frowned as he traded glances between his sketch of Snake's solid eye and Fisher's goggles, noting that while the two's infrared vision would be useless against their suits, the latter fighter could track Snake via his footprints and zoo feature. Then Izuku's eyes landed on one notable difference between the two gadgets. Sam's has sonar, while Snake's has radar, Izuku realized, a grin forming on his face. His thoughts choosing to quote the previous battle's fighter, Beast. Eureka! I'd say that he's the stealthiest man ever, if it weren't for the 3 giant green lights coming off his head. Come on, dude, Boomstick exclaimed, complaining. Common misconception, as obvious as they may appear. Those lights are actually invisible to a normal human eye, was explained. Shit, could have fooled me, Kamakiri muttered. Really? Well, that's too bad for his enemies, because Sam excels at killing efficiently, Boomstick replied. While lurking in the shadows, he takes aim with his favorite pistol, the semi-automatic 5.7, a compact firearm that's perfect for silent, quick kills. Snipe agreed with Boomstick, thinking about his own similar gun at his home for the more silent, undercover missions he would take on throughout his hero career. And if someone manages to spot him, unlikely as it may be, Fisher is more than prepared to take them head-on with his SC-20K modular assault weapons system, was unveiled. May's grin began to morph wider and more feral with desire, a look shared by Bakugu, Shoda, and even Snipe under his mask. This beaut is like the Swiss Army knife of guns, Boomstick said comparatively. It has an assault rifle mode, shotgun mode, sniper rifle. She can be whatever you want her to be. A silent, awkward pause settled in after Boomstick swooned. Boomstick, was muttered, garnering his co-host's attention. Wah! Yeah, Boomstick snapped out of his swooning and cleared his throat. As versatile as she is, that's nothing compared to the amount of things she fires. Aside from bullets, the 20K can launch gas and EMP grenades, sticky shockers, rubber bullets, and even cameras which attach to the wall. I have to admit, she lasted far longer than I expected for this video, Kendo gruntingly admitted to herself as she helped various students pull and reel Hatsum back to her seat after she attempted to grab the device for more info. Such a versatile weapon made to perform the function of several in one, Nizu noted with captured interest. non-lethal rounds and sticky shockers to incapacitate a target for questioning, gas grenades to clear a whole room unconscious or blinded, assault, shotgun, and sniper modes for active short, mid, and long-range combat scenarios. The EMP is particularly intriguing. Could be used to shut off any means of enemy communication from different sites. Incredibly useful in case a stealth mission suddenly becomes a firefight, Power Loader nodded. And those EMPs could shut down several of Snake's weaponry, like his Octo Camo. After their titanium spikes anchor them in place, Fisher uses his built-in communications device, the OPSAT, to monitor them, was explained further, showing Fisher firing the deployable cameras anchoring to a surface and allowing Sam to view through them. These cameras have night, thermal, and electromagnetic field vision. Hawks frowned, the weapon's various tools and firing modes reminding him of his predecessor. Lady Nagant, Hawks thought, mentally reviewing all he could pull of the HPSC's former assassin. The former pro's rifle quirk allowed her to form a rifle out of her elbow, to which she could pluck strands from her regrowable hair that would harden and shape to her desire, and fire them out of her arm rifle. Simplistic quirk at first glance, but it was her skill, trained and natural, that made her Japan's most renowned sharpshooter, even earning the praise of Snipe after all these years, after her imprisonment. The hero/assassin could snipe a target from kilometers away under normally suboptimal conditions, like nighttime and heavy rain, fire and curve her bullets into angles that many would mistake for a telekinetic quirk, and even fire multiple bullets in rapid succession. Hawks even found a note that she would attach objects to her bullets, like cameras, communicators, and even explosives. Sam's got so many ways to take on his opponents, it's hard to count all the impressive stuff he's done, Boomstick said. Fitz has infiltrated both the CIA and Third Echelon itself. Evaded 4 snipers looking for him. Can headshot 4 people before the last man can draw his gun. Prevented World War III on multiple occasions. Completed a training course so silently that his superiors didn't realize he had even started. He's carried out more than a dozen missions, went all Liam Neeson and rescued his daughter from kidnappers, and has even infiltrated the CIA itself, which probably isn't easy. Boomstick listed some of Sam's most impressive feats. Oh, it most certainly isn't. David shook his head in agreement. Especially after the security I helped to implement. However, the inventor did frown at the mention of Fisher's daughter being kidnapped. He horribly imagined the circumstances of his near abduction by Wolfram and his daughter's attempt to rescue him in reverse. Ectoplasm hummed. Something on your mind? Cementos asked, curious. Just wondering whether this means Fisher has had more experience in missions than Solid Snake, and whether it might grant him an edge in their fight. Ectoplasm confessed. Perhaps, experience has been a winning hand in many of the battles. 13 nodded. Yet not always, and I doubt Fisher's more grounded experience accounts for the same as Snake fighting nuke-firing mechs, Hound Dog pointed out. He has single-handedly prevented a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, foiled terrorist plans to destroy the world's oil supply. All of it, was paused and stated the last one incredulously. And when he discovered that Third Echelon was corrupt from within, he took it down by teaming up with Grimm to create Fourth Echelon. Hawks perked up, eyebrows twitching at the final reported feat. Hawks traded a subtle glance with Nizu, both of them pondering the same thing. Could we even be able to do the same with HPSC? Hawks pondered with a fragile hope. The organization had its claws deeply embedded in nearly every aspect of hero society, supported and funded by high-ranking and influential individuals. Hawks knew that even if he and Nizu revealed everything they knew about the Commission's corrupt dealings and overreach of power, the outcome wouldn't be what they hoped for. At worst, some corrupt leaders and members might resign or face charges, but most of it would probably be covered up, and those who got fired would likely be replaced by others who might be even worse. Though their reputation isn't stable either, not after everything that's happened recently, Hawks noted, knowing of the political and reputational hits the various events of the year had done to chip away at the public's faith in the Commission, from the attacks orchestrated by the League of Villains, all for one's resurgence and reveal to the wider public, and the continued fear of the Nomu, like Hood's attack on him and Endeavor. revealing thousands of civilians, pros, criminals, and influential individuals as part of a resurgent terrorist cell forming under the Commission's noses, along with testimonies of 2 pros who had been under their employment, could perhaps be the final domino needed. Hawks made a note to figure out a way to communicate with Lady Nagant without the Commission knowing. Nizu thought along the same lines as Hawks predicted, but only further. While the winged hero's priority was vengeance and freedom, Nizu thought of stability and order, attributes that would be needed in the chaos to come. Even if the Commission were to fall, what would then be created to take up its place? Nizu asked. The rodent principle knew about power and how quickly the world moves to try filling the vacuum whenever any of it is removed. A symbol of peace is replaced by one of new beginnings. Nizu glanced between all might and endeavor. Echelons of increasing numerical branding. Nizu chuckled amusingly at the simplistic naming convention. What will be there to fill the Commission's shoes? And what guarantees will there be that whatever replaces it will be any better? It is a rare moment when Nizu finds no immediate answer to his ponderings, but the quirked animal hybrid is eager to search for it further. In combat, he's insanely fast and accurate on the quick draw, Boomstick added. Even when surrounded, he can put 4 bullets in 4 skulls in 3.2 seconds. He can literally take a life in the blink of an eye. Damn, Snipe chuckled, immensely impressed. Gotta up my game. Despite his age, nature hasn't slowed Sam down at all, Boomstick stated. I don't know about you, but I'll be thinking twice before stepping into any shadows. Fisher, it's starting to look like war is unavoidable, Lambert radioed Fisher. Jesus is asking all sources for current division-level intelligence. So, besides stopping World War III, is there anything else I can do for you this evening? Sam Fisher asked snarkily. Chuckles rose from Fisher's snarky question. Just as Snake, the viewers were impressed by the skill, experience, and gadgets of the secret agent, more so at the reminder of the man's age. Many found themselves wondering if Fisher's better armor and weaponry could give him the edge in the death battle, including the likes of Kirishima, Tetsu, and Snipe. All right, the combatants are set, Wiz announced. Let's end this debate once and for all. It's time for a stealth battle, Boomstick roared out. Heh, stealth battle, death battle, clever, Manga chuckled at the rhyme. As the video paused for the device to scan for counterparts, the group got to voting among themselves over who would win and be declared the ultimate secret agent. Those who chose Snake included Hagakure, Mei, and Powerloader. Toru's vote was based on the belief that Snake was the stealthier of the 2 fighters, with gadgets like his Octo Camo and Super Soldier biology that could give him a winning edge. Mei and Powerloader had a harder time choosing a favorite between the 2, yet ultimately chose the legendary soldier capable of taking down Metal Gears, and with the more impressive gadgets of the Solid Eye and Octo Camo, the former of the 2 continuing to struggle against the bonds keeping her bound on the couch, unable to write down her ideas and notes of either babies. Shoto and Enji Todoroki would both vote for Solid Snake, finding haunting symmetry with Snake and Big Boss to themselves. Even the latter comparison between Big Boss and Endeavor was on point when both father and son couldn't help seeing the flame hero himself as much of an antagonist to overcome as Big Boss was to Snake. Mineta voted for Otakon, pitching support for the nervous tech guy, while Mandalay chose Snake because his codec was basically like her telepathy quirk. Miruko, on the other hand, was fascinated by Snake's CQC fighting style, especially since the super soldier was the only one with a unique martial art that stirred her battle-hungry curiosity. Aizawa, Present Mike, and Midnight all cast their votes for the super soldier. Midnight and Present Mike because he reminded them of their grumpy, insomniac friend, and that friend himself via the agent's Solid Eye and Octo Camo gadgets, much like Hagakure did. Bakuga's vote was publicly stated to be Snake's more impressive feats of blowing up the Metal Gears and tanks, but inwardly, he couldn't help but make several clear-cut comparisons between the super soldier that defeated his evil predecessor and the nerdy successor of their shared idol, both of whom Bakugo could describe as guys who had a habit of making the impossible possible. Izuku and All Might would likewise vote for the legendary super soldier for their own reasons. Despite Fisher's status as a clearly quirkless fighter, Solid Snake still resonated with Izuku through their shared struggle to live up to the legacies they were meant to inherit, even if the fighter in question had to take down his predecessor personally. Meanwhile, All Might struggled heavily between Fisher and his relatable partnership with Grimm, as Toshinori had with Night Eye, or the relatable connections he found in Solid Snake's backstory. In a way, All Might could not help but see the twins of Solid Snake and Liquid Snake to be so similar in a manner to All for One and his younger brother, the first user of One for All, or, more concerningly, Izuku Midoriya and Tomura Shigaraki. Finally, the haunting parallel between Solid Snake's and the Forge's rapid aging won All Might over by sheer camaraderie and loyalty. Sam Fisher's most notable voters included Tokage, Melissa, and David Shield. The choice between the two secret agents tore at Setsuna apart even more than her quirk. However, the 1B Greenette would, in the end, choose Sam Fisher, liking the coloring of Fisher's goggles better, Fisher's cameras that she felt compared well with the usage of her quirk, and gushing about how Fisher's body temperature could be masked like a chameleon. Melissa and David Shield had much the same struggles as their fellow inventors, but chose Sam Fisher for much the same reasons as Setsuna in terms of the Splinter Cell agent's gear. Additionally, neither of the two could deny the sympathy points earned with Fisher's status as a single father. Despite Fisher's feats being less extravagant compared to Snake's, Kirishima and Tetsu would vote for Fisher's greater, more durable armor and weaponry, finding that, eventually, a gunfight might occur, and the one with a heavier arsenal and better defense could sneak out the win. Snipe's vote toward Fisher stemmed from his impressive quick draw and weaponry, and Kaminari's was garnered via Sam Fisher's sticky shockers and EMPs, believing the latter would disrupt Snake's gear. Yaoyorozu would also vote for Fisher, believing his extensive arsenal of weapons would be useful in any encounter that might happen. Mirio would vote for Fisher too, though his reasoning lay more toward his support. Grimm, who reminded the blonde third year of Sir Night Eye, much like All Might did. Ryukyu would also vote for Fisher, partly because of Grimm, believing her well-organized mind would greatly help Fisher secure the win. Edgeshot would go for the Splinter Cell agent for his suit's heat-suppressant features, more durable armor, and ability to avoid leaving footprints. Azui and Kyoka voted because of Fisher's goggles, which use sonar along with his SEAL training, giving him the skills to handle threats on land, in the air, or at sea. Azui would also find the sonar detection similar to her former internship mentors, Selkie and Sirius, while Jiro's vote was likewise influenced by the added element of Fisher's subdermal implants. Hawks would join the voters for Sam Fisher, his vote secured with Fisher's feat of destroying his own corrupt organization, his 20K's various tools and modes reminding him of Lady Nagant and his feathers, and the spy's feat of being so stealthy that his footprints were undetectable, wondering if his own feathers would be able to track the ultimate predator if it came down to it. Multiversal counterparts detected. The device reported finishing its scan. David aka Solid Snake. Multiversal counterpart 1. Izuku Midoriya. Please everyone raise your hand if you are unsurprised by this outcome, Kaminari muttered. Instantly, 99% of the group raised their hands, some with blank, unamused faces, a few with eye rolls and fond smirks, and others with exaggerated annoyance. Fukugu could be heard muttering bitterly about the device, or whoever this Zayden entity was, being raging simps of Deku. The green-haired teen himself didn't know what else to say that wouldn't make things worse for himself. He had no control or say over why he was connected to so many counterparts throughout the multiverse without potentially revealing secrets he was, as yet, uncomfortable sharing or answering questions he currently had no real, concrete answer to. Could it be because both Snake and I are successors to a legendary figure and trained by them? Is it because the nanomachines and a specific number of original eggs compare with One for All and its number of generations? Izuku began theorizing his connection with Snake. Wouldn't it make more sense if Snake were then the first user since Snake's twin brother is evil like All for One? Meanwhile, Setsuna suddenly felt bad for voting for the other fighter. Damn it, if I knew Greenie was a kick-ass super spy from the beginning, I would have voted for him instead. Setsuna complained inwardly, unintentionally voicing why voting before the counterparts were revealed was objectively wise. Bah, whatever. All I need to know is that the boy I'm head over heels for is both a super cool kaiju in one world and a sick secret spy in another. My two great loves in one person. No complaints. All Might bit his lips. actively pushing down the nervous jitters that rose upon this reveal as he remembered Snake's curse and the curse of One for All. Multiversal Counterpart 2. Shuta Aizawa aka Eraserhead. Damn, deja vu. Midnight chuckled, smirking teasingly at both Aizawa and Izuku. Just like how the two of you are counterparts to Batman. Anything to say on the matter, Eraser? Aizawa's eyes twitched, catching with a glance Izuku's nervous expression. No, Aizawa grumbled out despite the numerous questions running through his mind. The most prominent one being, why? How could he and his class's most problematic child have such similar counterparts despite their circumstances being entirely different? Well, okay, not entirely different, Aizawa admitted, recognizing the familiar hardship Midoriya had as a quirkless kid, similar to his past struggles with a quirk typically unflashy or specialized for direct combat. Outside of that, though, Shoyuta Aizawa felt that he and Izuku Midoriya being the same person in separate universes like Batman and, now Solid Snake, was nothing short of either a cosmic coincidence or a bad joke some interdimensional god was laughing at him for. Unbeknownst to either counterpart of Solid Snake, Hitoshi Shin so grumbled jealously to himself while Shoto Todoroki glanced at the teacher and student repeatedly, while mentally reviewing his dadmic theories and pondering whether he got the wrong teacher as Midoriya's secret father. Samuel Leo Fisher. Multiversal Counterpart. Toshinori Yagi aka All Might. Ha, another instance where you got to fight your protege, ha Toshinori. Gran Torino quietly snickered. Wonder if this will end up like the last time. All Might shuddered, hoping extra hard for Solid Snake to win, simply because he didn't want a repeat of his alternate version murdering one of his surrogate son's counterparts, a la Superman and Goku. Additional counterparts detected. Hal Emmerich aka Otacon. Multiversal Counterpart 1. Minoru Mineta. Ha. No wonder. Bakuga laughed. If anyone is going to be the pants wetter, it's going to be Diaper Boy. Mineta's face turned red as his furious retort was held back via his own covered mouth. Mineta was eager to respond to Bakugu. Still, he also knew any retort he had primed would get him blasted into the stratosphere. And contrary to his prior actions, constantly peeping and hitting on girls that could melt, blast, or crush him to paste, Minoru Mineta wanted to live. The grape-headed teen just swallowed his pride and chose to see this connection as evidence of how smart he truly was, given that he was ranked 9th academically in his class. Multiversal Counterpart 2. Hisashi Yamada aka Present Mike. Well, so much for having a version of me without you yapping away in my ear constantly, Aizawa muttered plainly. Oh, ha ha ha, very funny, Present Mike rolled his eyes. Remember, you wouldn't be Eraserhead without me suggesting the name so generously. Wait, Present Mike, you were the one who gave Mr. Aizawa his hero name? Mina asked, surprised. Rightio, little listener. Present Mike smiled and saluted in acknowledgement, wrapping an arm around Aizawa. Your beloved teacher's famous codename was brought to you by yours truly. If famous is the new word for uncreative, Aizawa rolled his eyes. You can't judge him for being lazy if you still took the name instantly, Midnight lightly chastised her former junior. Anna Grimm's daughter aka Grim Reaper. Multiversal Counterpart. Mirai Sasaki aka Sir Naitai. Another instance of a gender-swapped version of a person from our world, Nizu commented. Our third alongside Bakugu as Rainbow Dash and Hatsum as Tails the Fox. Oh yeah, I almost forgot that big, tough guy Bakugu is a pretty rainbow sparkling pony in another world. Zero laughed, still finding that outcome hilarious. If you can't shut your mouth, come here. I'll blast it off your smug extra face permanently. Bakuga roared. All Might's and Mirio's sad recollection of their respective sidekick and mentor was lightened as they both snickered at the idea of a female version of Sir Night-Eye. Or, Lady Night-Eye, as Mirio dubbed the imagined version. As the two blondes attempted to imagine such a version, mentally picturing long, dark and blonde highlighted hair on Night-Eye's memorable, stern and stoic look, they immediately ceased their imaginations, shuddering in abject horror. Shaking away the cursed image from his brain cells, Toshinori decided to simply find joy and solace in night, by continuing to aid him as a friend and partner in another lifetime, even if the man himself would have paled at the admittedly humorous circumstances. With nothing more to be said, the video continued to the death battle. The scene opened with a hidden facility in the middle of a forest, the overgrown greenery surrounding the area suggesting its abandonment. On the top left of the screen, text formed detailing the location, time, and target of the mission. Secret Zanzibar Research Facility. Status: abandoned. Target: data files on metapatients number 05, number 09, number 13, an experimental human enhancement drug. Location: North Zanzibar Forest. 0400 hours July 10, 2018. This reminds me of that Fox vs. Bucky O'Hare fight, Nijire commented. You mean the Midobro on Midobro fight that got disturbingly violent at the end? Kirishima noted, face turning green as he remembered how brutally Fox choked out Bucky before blasting the rabbit's brains across the battlefield. Be grateful this isn't another Midoriya versus Midoriya fight too, Sen muttered, admittingly jealous of Midoriya's large number of counterparts. As the text began to be censored, a helicopter flew over the facility, landing in a nearby field. Inside, Solid Snake stood on the edge of the copter's open door, inspecting the area. Damn, how can any man be so caked up like that? Pixie Bob growled hungrily, shamelessly undressing the secret agent with her eyes. The sisterhood couldn't help but slowly glance down toward their green-haired crush, more specifically, where the boys sat on the mat beside Aries and Kuta's bean-bag seats. The girls already knew why Izuku's habit of wearing baggy clothes helped hide his impressive musculature, as well as quite the impressive serpent if Mei's testimony was to be believed. But even his baggy pants couldn't hide how delectable Midoriya's cheeks looked as he sat down, or remember how generously his hero outfit complemented the boy's figure deliciously. Izuku shivered as he subconsciously felt the stares of several attractive women glancing at him, feeling like a lost lamb surrounded by a pack of hungry wolves. Mineta couldn't decide which angered him most: Midoriya's continued success as a chick magnet, or the girls blatantly doing what he was doing, and nobody calling them out on it. Stupid double, feminist standards, Mineta pouted. Snake hopped off the chopper, a firearm raised and aimed at any unsuspecting targets. With no danger in sight, Snake lowered his gun and stalked toward his facility while the helicopter flew off into the sky. Several of the pros and adults with experience in espionage and hideout raids, such as Hawks, Aizawa, Tsukachi, Fat Gum, Ryukyu, and Edgeshot, nodded in approval of Snake's performance thus far, acknowledging the clear experience of the super soldier. Snake paused before the open door to the facility, placing himself beside the entrance and peeking in. As he prepared to enter the facility, Snake's codec let out its iconic beeping, indicating he was receiving a call from Otakon. Opening onto the screen were green-tinted images of Snake and Otakon, with green bars stacked in the shape of a gun and the number 141.12 beside it, and in between Snake's and Otakon's images. Okay, Snake, I've finished uploading the building schematics to your solid eye, Otakon informed the agent. The intel we need is inside. Should be a piece of cake, but... Wait, there's one heat signature inside. Just one. Snake asked for confirmation. Sam Fisher must already be inside, Mirio commented. Yeah, maybe everyone's out for a late-night dinner, Otakon suggested optimistically. Optimistic, but hardly, Edgeshot said. If there were hostiles inside, Sam Fisher was likely responsible for turning their signatures cold. Way to state that so dramatically, Mount Lady rolled her eyes. Thanks, Otakon, Snake said. Piece of cake. With the conversation finished, Snake entered the building. Ha, Jiro hummed, eyebrow raised. What's up, Jiro? Shui asked. Nothing, it's just... Don't you guys think he sounds kind of familiar? Jiro asked. Like who? Momo inquired this time. It sounds crazy and ironic given the circumstances, but Snake sort of sounds like All Might to me, Jiro revealed. Pardon? Toshinori himself asked, surprised. Are you sure, young Jiro? These girls are sharp, and his voice sounded similar. Jiro nodded, her jacks waving in emphasis. Can you try saying what Snake said, All Might Sensei? I'll try. Toshinori nodded, clearing his throat before breathing deeply. Piece of cake. The group's eyes blinked, heads leaning back in surprise over how frighteningly accurate All Might sounded to Solid Snake. Oh yeah, I can hear it too, Present Mike exclaimed. Heh, freaky. Almost like when Midoriya imitates you. Like this, Izuku said, his voice and face similar to All Might's buff state to Eri's laughter. Deku, we love you, but please stop that, Ochiko begged her crush, slightly weirded out with a face and voice similar to her teacher coming out of Izuku's countenance. Sorry, Izuku apologized, lightly blushing at Ochiko's words. Meanwhile, deep inside the facility, Sam Fisher was shown typing on a computer, the dead bodies of hostile forces cold on the ground. Headshot gave Mount Lady an I told you so type stare. Don't give me that look, I didn't refute anything, Mount Lady snarked back at her teammate. As he was finishing uploading the computer's data, Sam heard Snake's helicopter leave the area. I guess the premise of this fight could be that both Snake and Fisher were sent to retrieve whatever data is on those computers, Hananuki muttered. Something about human enhancement drugs, right? Snake's group may want to confiscate such data so that more solid and liquid snakes become a thing, especially in the hands of an evil organization, Shoda guessed. And then fourth echelon either wants it to make their own super soldiers for good or to keep it out of the wrong hands. Bondo nodded, agreeing with this train of thought. Shame they can't come to an agreement, but they'll likely see each other as hostiles and dash. Ugh, enough talking, you 1B extras. Bakugo yelled out, annoyed. We all know they are going to fight. Talking is out of the question. No need to waste out time with your pointless babbling. The 1B students glared venomously at Bakugo, yet said nothing. Grim, we haven't had a chopper in the plan, have we? Sam asked his support partner. Miles away in the sky, Grim was shown monitoring Sam's mission on a nearby plane. No, the Paladin is your evac plan. Why? Grim informed and inquired. We got a party crasher, Sam reported, taking the drive with the fully transferred data. I wouldn't call him a party crasher. Snake's a pretty solid guy, Mirio punned. That's it. Yamamo the tape. Tamaki, restrain him, Nijire ordered, the raven-haired heiress producing a roll of skin-friendly duct tape while Amajiki restrained Mirio in manifested tentacles. Ah, come on guys. Is this really niece? Mirio's words were cut off by the tape over his mouth. Great, and no quirk to phase through this. You guys are mean. Grim stood over a holographic imaging of the area on the table before her, swiping her hands and pulling up the camera feed of the facility. Your new friend won't last long, Grim noted. There's only one way into that room. Don't lecture me, Fisher retorted. He's mine. The scene shifted to an overhead shot of the two agents creeping toward each other from opposite sides of the wall, guns drawn and ready. Setsuna was practically vibrating in her seat. Her previous loyalty to Fisher in this fight was rocked by the knowledge of Snake's primary likely counterpart. Whoever wins, this is going to be such a cool spy battle. Setsuna thought out a consensus. Snake, he's in the room. Otakon whispered to the super soldier. The two agents turned their heads toward the corner, the solid eye and Fisher's goggles glowing red and green, respectively. So sick, Zero exclaimed in a whispered tone. Fight. The theme of the battle picked up as the two soldiers turned the corner, pointing their guns straight at each other. The music stopped abruptly as Snake and Fisher stared at each other, surprised, the iconic alarm and red exclamation point of Metal Gear playing over their heads. Snickers burst out of Kuta's mouth. Ha ha ha, so much for stealthy super spies. Kuta laughed mockingly. Don't be mean, Kuta. Mandalay yelled out from her farther seat at her nephew. Although he has a point, Pixie Bob shrugged. They did find each other super quickly. It is likely that this fight will be a mix of standard hand-to-hand combat like previous death battles as well as elements of stealth and surprise attacks on one another, Tiger reasoned. They both hid back behind their respective corners, The sound of a record scratching played as the two regained their composure. Sam turned the corner first, the music replaying, raising his gun to shoot Snake, only for the super soldier to bat the arm away, the silencer bullet firing off over Snake's head. The patch-wearing agent continued with a counterattack, grabbing Fisher by his arm and dragging him forward while launching a backwards elbow strike at Fisher's side. With a knee raise, Snake knocked Sam's gun out of his hand. "Smart move." Snipe nodded in begrudging acknowledgement despite Snake being his voted fighter's opponent. "Grab the guy's arm and keep his gun pointed away from you. Stun him to lessen his struggling, and quickly deprive him of his firearm. Keep that in mind in case any of you guys are too close to a gun with a gun." The students nodded. Hagakure paid extra particular attention. With her being constantly invisible, Toru knew she would need to perform quick and strong strikes to incapacitate her opponents. She remembered her fight against Manga Fukudashi during her team's match in the joint training exercise with Class 1B, and how she wailed blow after blow against Fukudashi, keeping him from using his quirk. However, when she was about to defeat the 1B student, Kendo had shown up and captured her with her giant hand, allowing Kendo's team to secure a 4-0 victory. "If I had been faster in beating him, I could have helped the others or lessened 1B's win to 3-1, Hagakure thought, her invisible hands gripping tightly by her lap as she felt determined never to let such a blunder happen again. Snake pressed his attack with an elbow to Sam's face, stunning him briefly. Fisher recovered quickly and launched a right hook, which was caught by Snake and countered again with a powerful punch to the gut, making Sam back up. Recovering, Sam struck a quick jab onto the side of Snake's face, stunning him briefly. Fisher tried to capitalize with a kick to the legs, but Snake held firm. A backhand smack from Fisher was blocked by Snake's raised arms, which lashed out to grab Fisher's other arm, pulling the Splinter Cell agent forward while Snake spun around his guard and elbowed him in the face, forcing Sam to back up and cradle his injured face. "Ha, looks like Snake's got the edge in physical combat," Miruko grinned, her hunger for battle only increasing. Fisher even tried to swipe at Snake's leg to get him to fall, but Snake just held his ground. And showed off that fine ass too. Miruko kept that last part to himself, though her gaze flicked over toward Midoriya. "Snake sure likes to strike with his elbows," Uraraka commented. Izuku likewise caught that observation, his thoughts turning to one of his newer ultimate moves, which he was still working on, though he imagined would work similarly. Wyoming Smash. Snake attempted to follow up with a jump punch, only for Sam to counter with a solid right kick to his stomach. "Ooh, got too greedy there," Sen hissed, rubbing at his stomach as if he felt the hit. Instantly recovering, Snake took out his 1911 operator, aiming at Fisher. Snake took a quick glance at the computer Sam used, noting the phrase, "transfer complete." Sam quickly pulled out another gun and fired at the computer, destroying it. "Destroy the computer so Snake can't figure out what Fisher downloaded," Tsukachi registered, smirking. "Clever. Why didn't he just shoot Snake while he was distracted?" Kozai asked. "Prioritization," Aizawa replied. "Should he miss, which is a possible factor given the speed and skill Snake has shown, and the chance that Snake kills Fisher, Snake could simply use the computer to figure out what he stole, which could likely be the same thing Snake is looking for." "Where's the data?" Snake demanded. "Wouldn't you like to know?" Clem asked back, performing a duck and run. Sam closed the distance on his opponent, aiming his gun at Snake's center mass. The Metal Gear Killer knocked the gun's aim away before it fired, raising his operator to Fisher's face to shoot, which Sam knocked away in turn as it fired overhead. Sam quickly tried to fire at Snake's face, only for the bandana-wearing soldier to lean his head away from the bullet. Snake tried shooting at his foe's face again, only for the fourth echelon agent to bat it away again, grabbing Snake's arm and pulling it down toward the ground as the gun fired again. "Jesus, that gun-fu shit is so nerve-wracking," Rin hissed nervously. "Especially when this time, it's between two guys made of flesh and bone rather than a cyborg and an android." "Oh yeah, right, RoboCop versus the Terminator," Aways hummed. "That was a sick fight, but every bullet here counts." Snake wrenched his arm away from Fisher and attempted to trip the man's legs, but Sam stopped the attempt with a kick of his own. Quickly, Sam struck Snake's chest twice with swift kicks before a more powerful third one sent the Foxhound agent flying across the room. Solid Snake rolled back on his feet by the wall, while Sam Fisher took out his C-20K in assault rifle mode. Fisher kicked Snake at a far enough distance where he could optimally fire on him with his 20K. Ryukyu nodded, acknowledging. Ugh, not as entertaining. Miruko groaned. As Fisher fired on him, Snake ran to his left, evading the bullets. Fisher continued firing in the path of Snake's direction, his bullets piercing through the cabinet walls with ease. Snake ran down the hall, jumping, flipping, and evading all the bullets with acrobatic grace and skill. Holy shit! That was so cool! Mina squealed. Quick, Midori, write that down. Write that down. With the urgency in Mina's voice, it snapped Izuku into action. His hands a blur as he even used one for all to speed up his drawing of Snake's movements. Sam came around the corner, aiming with his 5.7 again, only catching a glimpse of a cardboard box sneaking past the corner on the other end of the hall. Was that the cardboard box again? Some question. Is this man really trying to sneak around in a goddamn cardboard box? Well, theoretically, if Snake could camouflage himself and hide with his octo camo, and remain still enough, hostile enemies would only see a random box, even with their infrared vision, and pay it no mind, Melissa theorized. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly here. Jiro shook her head. Sam reached the corner, hiding behind it. Grim, did you get that? Maz. Sam, are you all right? Grim inquired back, her attention on the monitors displaying the video footage in the facility, as well as an image of Solid Snake and all the data she could find on him, which was full of question marks. Amusing, Mizu chuckled. Both Grim and Otacon could be useful in debriefing their partners on the other, yet Snake's confidential history as a government-sponsored lab rat makes him more of an unknown, even to Ms. Grim. Hawks smirked, noting the precise choice of words that Mizu used to be intentional. Same shit that drives the commission crazy, Hawks thought, reflecting on the gray hairs the commission's agents and workers pulled from their own heads when they couldn't get much on Mizu's background, exploitable contacts, or vulnerabilities. I'm fine. He's after the data, Sam reported. Just our luck, Grim sighed. I'll bring the plane in for you. Don't, Sam's words cut Grim's actions. This guy's gonna be a problem if I don't take care of him now. But it's more important that Grim began to argue. No. Sam cut her off again with a stern growl. There's that stubborn recklessness I'm so familiar with, Gran Torino groaned. Tragically so. Toshinori rolled his eyes, admitting that his old teacher had a point when it came to charging into a fight guns blazing. But like Wizard said, it works out well for us more times than not, Toshinori reminded himself. Sam raised his 20K and fired 2 cameras into the ceiling. Trust me, Grim, Sam said, staring confidently at the cameras he shot. The monitoring cameras, Setsuna noted. Won't matter if Snake's better at stealth. The more cameras Sam sets up, the less Snake's movements won't go unnoticed. Especially if he is sneaking around inside that ridiculous cardboard box, Ida muttered. And since these cameras are likely linked uniquely to Fisher's and Grimm's network, it will be harder for Otacon to notice and hack into them, if he could at all, Momo analyzed. Oh, he will. I'm confident in the other me, Mineta thought to himself, while Sam rushed down the hall in search of his prey. Snake called Otacon on his codec. I'm not alone, Snake informed his guy in the chair. Somebody beat me to the intel and destroyed the source. Think he's with Praying Mantis. Raven Sword. Praying Mantis. Raven Sword. Midnight repeated the names Snake mentioned. Could those be other organizations that Snake has come across? Could be, Hawk shrugged. Cool names too. I'm more partial to Raven Sword though. Right, Fumikage. Tokoyami said nothing, refusing to rise to his hero mentor's bait. Even if he did find the name appealing. Dark Shadow, however, did not have his restraint. Hell yeah. That name is badass. Dark Shadow squawked. I know Fumi here is already thinking of making an ultimate move with that dash. Quiet you. Tokoyami growled as he tried to will and push Dark Shadow back into his body, the sentient quirk struggling with his user. Reiko observed Tokoyami and Dark Shadow bickering and squabbling like best friends, a sight she found highly amusing and adorable. If they're operating out here, it couldn't possibly be anyone we're familiar with, Otakon replied, unsure. I'll start scanning radio frequencies to see if I can find any comm lines. Mirio made a noise through his tape. Oh, do you want to say something, Mirio? Nijire asked sweetly. Mirio nodded. Is it something useful and interesting to hear, and not a horrible pun? Nijire's tone grew fiercer despite the sweet smile remaining on her face. Mirio nodded again. Okay, fine. Tamaki, remove the tape. Tamaki did as asked, removing Mirio's tape, allowing the third-year blonde to gasp out a breath. What I wanted to say was that if Fisher's and Grimm's network gets found and hacked, it could put Fisher at a disadvantage, Mirio revealed. The same if Grimm finds out about Otakon helping Snake. That is a good point, Ida muttered, satisfied. I'm glad to see our upperclassmen are as commendable and wise as I expected them to dash. Whoever finds out about the other first could have quite the grim fate. Mirio added, a shit-eating grin on his face. A second later, 3 times the amount of tape was placed over Mirio's mouth, with a stick note that read "bad puns" crossed out. Ida shook his head in disappointment, while Eri and Kuta kicked extremely lightly on Mirio's legs. But Snake, Otakon continued, until we know what you're up against, I suggest you keep yourself out of sight. I already got it covered, Snake replied. Please tell me it's not a cardboard box, Otakon pleaded tiredly. Oh, it most certainly is, Present Mike snickered, shaking his head. Maybe that's why you are also a counterpart to Snake, Eraser. Snake likes his cardboard boxes like you like your sleeping bags. Aizawa glared pointedly at the laughing hero/teacher, but refused to comment. The codec screen closed to reveal a shot of a men's restroom. Do I need to go over this again? Snake questioned, showing that the cardboard box was indeed inside the restroom. The cardboard box is a very important tool for infiltration missions. It's ideal for fooling the enemy. Really? A very important tool? Jiro raised an amused eyebrow. Is it perhaps as valuable as Green's hundreds of All Might merch? Of course it is. Izuku yelped in defense of his merch. Most of them are limited edition and one of a kind. Like my All Might. I want you to go plus Ultra poster. The Silver Age action figure with removable capes and interchangeable facial features dash. The students laughed as the green-haired fanboy muttered endlessly over his All Might merch that he treasured like they were all the Holy Grail, while the teachers and pros sent teasing snickers and grins at the former hero himself, who simply took his protégé's fanboy tendency in stride. Nothing too dissimilar to Sir, All Might pointed out, used to it. In a dark hallway, Fisher activated his multi-vision goggles, tracking a trail of Snake's footprints into the restroom. Looks like Snake's isn't stealthy enough not to leave a trail of footprints, Hawks grinned. Entering the restroom, Sam looked at the obvious box in the middle of the room. Oh yeah, a cardboard box in the middle of a restroom. Definitely inconspicuous, Sin said and clapped sarcastically. Sam shot a camera onto the wall on the opposite end of the room. Snake's codec started up again. Snake, this is insane, Otakon groaned. Okay, I have to agree with other me, Mineta said, shifting nervously in his beanbag seat. How is this staying out of sight? Whoa there dude, calm down. We don't want you to wet your pants too. Kaminari grinned teasingly at him. Oh, screw off. Like you would be any better. Mineta growled. The two glared faux lightning out of their eyes. Okay, that is enough. Eraserhead's voice was the only warning before both their ears were pulled painfully, ceasing their glare as they yelped in pain. I don't know what's gotten into both of you, but if I have to see my other self get foolishly shot for hiding in a cardboard box, it's not going to be while you two are bickering like an old married couple. Otakon, I'm not exaggerating when I say the success of my mission hinges on how I use this cardboard box, Snake insisted. The view of the codec cut out as Fisher put away his 20K and pulled out his 5.7, aiming at the box. But in the end, a cardboard box. Snake began. Sam fired on the box 3 times, opening holes in it. Is that it? Pony questioned, unsure. No, something isn't right here, Izuku muttered. Typical arrogance of Class 1A, Monoma laughed mockingly. Reluctantly as it was, I did commend you when you took the defeat of your Goku, Ryu, and Gamera counterparts with grace and dignity, but now you're incapable of admitting defeat. A flare of irritation surged through Izuku's body, Monoma's mocking sounding no better than Bakuga's, yet the 1A cinnamon roll pushed down his irritation. What I'm saying is, all of this, the cardboard in the middle of the room, the trail to the bathroom, it feels too deliberate, purposeful, Izuku explained. And wouldn't we have heard if the bullets hit something inside that box? You know, Green has a point, Jiro muttered. I didn't hear any blood splatter or cries of pain. Momo's eyes widened. You mean that snake dash? Before Momo could finish, the video continued with Fisher kicking the box over, discovering to his shock nothing inside. Empty! Multiple students exclaimed. Monoma paled in realization. The air behind Fisher morphed and shifted until it revealed Solid Snake. His octocamo deactivating, sneaking up behind Sam. Is only made of paper, Snake finished his statement. The box. It was a diversion. Melissa gasped. The octocamo, May exclaimed in delight. Snakes used his octocamo to disguise his presence from even the multivision goggles so he could attack from behind. I'm sorry, but could you continue whatever you were going to say, Monoma? Mineta asked, grinning in victory despite still rubbing his sore ear. Silence, you purple degenerate, Monoma yelled, his pale face turning red with embarrassment. I may be a purple perv, but at least I'm not a red embarrassment. Mineta blew a raspberry at Momona. Aizawa would break up the rapidly ensuing fight, but let Vlad King do it. Instead, Aizawa stared at the cardboard box full of holes and imagined it as Yamada compared it to his yellow sleeping bag. The image of his beloved sleeping bag riddled with holes caused a righteous fury to rise within Aizawa. Snake wrapped Sam's head into an arm lock, attempting to choke out the Splinter Cell agent. Sam launched his elbow back 3 times, attempting to weaken Snake's hold. Eventually, Sam planted and ran his feet up the restroom wall till he flipped his way out of the hold. Damn, so close. Hagakure hissed, her anxiety rising. Snake launched a straight kick to Sam's gut, stunning the man for a split second before the two rushed at each other. Sam's left hook and right kick were expertly blocked. Fisher attempted to shoot at Snake in the face again, only for his arm to be batted away, the bullet missing. The super soldier and Splinter Cell agent traded blows and blocks, Snake batting Fisher's gun away from hitting him, while Fisher could barely block most of Snake's attacks. Fisher tried his own straight kick again, only for Solid Snake to grab the leg into a hold and slam the enemy agent to the ground. Damn, now that's a throw. Miruko grinned in satisfaction. The flash drive slipped out of Fisher's pockets, allowing Snake to pick it up and inspect it. Otakon, I've got the intel, Snake contacted his support guy. And because the other you thought it was better to go after Snake, he now has the flash drive. Recovery Girl criticized Fisher's actions, smacking All Might in the head with her cane. Did you not think hiding it somewhere else while you dealt with Snake was the better choice? Hey, in case you don't remember, I'm rooting against my counterpart. All Might protested. Sam flipped up to his feet and fired, one of the bullets striking Snake in the stomach. Snake groaned, hand over his wound, inspecting the blood on it while Fisher hid in the shadows. Shit, he's hit. Kamakiri cursed. Unfortunately, while Snake is a better physical combatant and likely as agile thanks to his lack of equipment and armor, that very same lack of armor means he's more vulnerable than Fisher, Edshot commented. Snake hid behind a bathroom stall, activating his suit's invisibility. Sam, I'm sending you a camera feed. Grim contacted Sam, showing the agent a feed of the camera he shot earlier onto the wall, revealing Snake through his camouflage. Whatever suit he's wearing is powered by electricity. How can they even see him? Mina questioned. The cameras were said to be able to detect electromagnetic fields and frequencies, Momo explained. If Snake's suit is powered by electricity, his shape would be detectable on the cameras. Perfect, Sam muttered. Grabbing an EMP grenade from his belt, Sam tossed it into the room. Sliding to a stop, the grenade opened up and beeped red before unleashing a wave of electricity, disabling Snake's invisibility. Aha! EMP for the win, Kaminari cheered. Victory has yet to be attained, Kaminari, Tokoyami warned. Save your cheers until one of them lies dead on the floor. Ugh! Snake grunted as his suit malfunctioned. Shaking off the discomfort, Snake pointed his gun out at the opening, but found no one there. Snake groaned, clasping a hand over his gunshot wound. Meanwhile, thumping sounds were heard overhead before Sam Fisher was shown crawling through the vents to make his escape. Ha! The bastard's running away, Bakugu yelled in disgust. I believe this would be considered more of a tactical retreat, Jirota corrected Bakugu. That was close. You're welcome, by the way, Grim said sassily on the comms. I lost the data, Sam grunted. Oh, wonderful, Grim groaned, annoyed. Well, without his suit, he's not hiding anywhere. And with his gear still intact, Fisher has more chances to sneak up on Snake, who's more vulnerable after that gunshot wound, Azui added. Kicking a vent grate open, Sam jumped down into a hallway, aiming his gun around before approaching a door. He's just behind that door, Grim advised. Go get it back, old man. Finally, it's over for Solid Snake, Monoma huffed, another victorious smirk rising on his lips. This is too easy, Sam muttered. Tetsu sighed. They just had to say that, didn't they? He groaned. Suddenly, loud static blasted into Sam's earpiece. Ark, what is that? Fisher questioned. I don't know. Somebody's interfering, Grim replied, frantically concerned as she typed on her monitors. Hello, is this thing on? Otacon's voice played over her monitors. Haha, guess who hacked your channel, lady? Present Mike laughed. Tech support rules. Who is this? Identify yourself, Grim demanded. I'm Otacon. I'm impressed. Your security's pretty state-of-the-art. Otacon introduced himself as multiple of Grim's monitors began to blue screen and turn static. Not good enough though, sorry. Aha! Bow before the superior hacker, Mineta exclaimed in victory. What? How long have you been listening in? Grim asked, horrified. Long enough, Otacon replied. But right now, Ms. Grim, I've got to shut you down. The technology in the Paladin began going haywire, exploding in bursts of electricity and flame. He's destroying her monitors, Jiro gasped, shocked. He's taking out Fisher's support. Ah, Sam, do you copy? Sam, Grim yelled as the plane began to veer and shake while alarms flared everywhere. Mirio's and Toshinori's eyes widened in horror. Despite the woman looking as far from Sir Night-Eye as possible, the knowledge that she was his counterpart and in danger struck heavily in their hearts, regardless of the simulated nature of the video. Grim, are you there? Are you okay? Sam asked frantically, receiving no response other than static. Suddenly, all the lights in the facility began to shut down, leaving the whole area in darkness. Revelry in the dark, the Gothic trio said in unison. Sam put on his multivision goggles before entering the room. The fourth echelon agent looked around for his enemy in the dark. Suddenly, from behind, a cigarette was lit, emitting a faint fiery glow. You're pretty good. Snake growled as his solid eye glowed a menacing red. The super soldier's words echoed by a voice clip from Ocelot. Shivers ran through the group at the menacing reveal of Solid Snake. The students of 1A couldn't help but see the scene as a more predatory version of Aizawa when using his quirk, an opinion shared by the UA teachers. The scene turned to darkness. Snake, Otacon asked for a response. The darkness was illuminated by gunfire, showing brief glimpses of Snake and Fisher fighting. Snake, Otacon asked again. more worried as the two soldiers' bullets clashed in the dark. Snaaki! Otacon yelled desperately. Despite the anxiety that chewed him from within and the rest of his classmates, Kaminari couldn't help but feel his mean senses tingling once more. The sounds of a gun reloading and goggles whirring were heard before the room became lit with rapidly fired ammunition from Fisher's 20K in assault mode. Snake Dodge rolled out of the line of fire while Fisher continued raining bullets around the room. "This is getting intense," Sato exclaimed, sweating from nervousness. Eventually, Fisher's bullets broke a window, bringing outside light into the room. Sam took off his goggles, looking around for the missing super soldier as he snuck from behind. Instantly, Snake put Sam into a hold and suplexed him, knocking away Sam's 20K. "Damn, I know I'm rooting against him, but that was a nice suplex," Kirishima admitted. "And that knocked away Fisher's gun," Siro pointed out. Snake stood across from Fisher, his knife out, to which Sam got to his feet and pulled out his own. "Oh ho ho, knife fight." Kamakiri grinned in mad delight. "Now we're talking." The two soldiers rushed at each other. Snake's knife clashed and sparked off against Sam's as the latter attempted a downward slash. A flurry of movement progressed as the two slashed, ducked, and evaded each other's swipes. Finally, Sam managed to get a good couple of slashes on Snake's chest. The super soldier groaned and backed away, inspecting the bloody gashes on his chest. Melissa squirmed, conflicted in her seat as she watched her voted fighter, her uncle's counterpart, clash so brutally with her crush's counterpart. However, the blonde inventor couldn't help the proud smile on Sam Fisher being able to stand toe-to-toe against a super soldier, comparing it to a quirkless person standing on even ground with one with a quirk. Sam rose from his stance, revealing a cut across his face. "Whoa, where did he get that?" Kaminari yelped. "Must have been at the same time when Fisher slashed Snake's chest," Shoji guessed. Sam raised his other hand, showing off the flash drive he managed to swipe. "Gotcha," Sam said. He managed to slash Snake twice and snatch the drive away while the other me only managed to get one slash on his face. Izuku thought, unable to help the chuckle coming out of his mouth. "Have to say, no matter how much I grow, All Might, no matter what version, is so cool." The two inched closer for another clash. Snake backed from a sideways slash from Fisher, the super soldier circling his knife hand around, forcing Sam to get wary and defensive. Solid Snake struck his fist and knife forward. Sam batted the hand away, but as he did, Snake dropped his knife and grabbed it with his other hand. Sneaking a quick stab to the chest, stunning Sam, Solid Snake grabbed Sam's knife hand, raising it high while backwards stabbing Fisher multiple times in the chest, causing the Splinter Cell soldier to groan in pain. "Oh God!" Pony gasped, covering her eyes. Izuku and Nijire were quick to do the same for Kuta and Eri. Snake stabbed his knife deep into Fisher's chest. With a click, the knife began electrocuting Fisher. "Ha, I almost forgot about that. Taser knife!" Kamakiri exclaimed excitedly. Kaminari gaped in horror, completely forgetting about that weapon. Snake kneed Fisher away in the face, the flash drive flying off the latter and into the air. Sam stumbled in pain before Solid Snake decided to finish it. With an upward stab from his foe's own knife, Solid Snake stabbed Sam Fisher's curved knife through the Splinter Cell soldier's jaw and out the top of his head. "Ah!" Kinoko's frightful yelp spoke for the rest of the stunned group, blinking in surprise at the quick and sudden gory kill. Some of the students' faces grew green. Even the adults looked taken aback by the sudden action, with some of the less resilient ones, like Present Mike and Pixie Bob, gagging in disgust. Toshinori's jaw dropped at his counterpart's gruesome death, only to have it closed by an upward gentle poke from Gran Torino's cane. Sam Fisher dropped to his knees, blood pouring out of his wounds and mouth before finally falling forward, dead. As Fisher's body hit the floor, Solid Snake snatched the falling flash drive without looking, lighting his cigarette again. "Piece of cake," Snake muttered, walking away. "Yo." Snake rides off in his helicopter, while the Paladin crashes in a fiery wreck down into the facility, presumably killing Grimm as well. "Holy hell!" Boomstick exclaimed, shocked. Boomstick's exclamation snapped the stunned group out of their stupors. Yes! Mineta led the cheering for Snake's voters, which included Bakugo laughing mockingly at Monoma before Aizawa and Vlad King broke up the approaching fight. Sam Fisher's voters groaned and sighed in disappointment before clapping respectfully. All Might, Setsuna, and Melissa all sighed in somewhat relief. Happy that Midoriya's fighter didn't end up dying at the hands of All Mights, all three aware of what another loss would do to Izuku's rising confidence. Although Toshinori's relief was soured at the sight of the paladin crashing in a fiery inferno, knowing it meant Naitai's counterpart, Grim, likewise met her end. At least here we went down together, old friend. Toshinori sighed, imagining the ghostly apparition of Sir Night-Eye standing behind him, hand on his shoulder, smiling before vanishing into the unknown. Mirio's gaze fell, saddened as he saw Night-Eye's counterpart meet a fiery end too. Mirio knew this was all a simulation, and the true versions are likely still alive and kicking in some other world. But it didn't mean that Mirio would feel any less bad about seeing his beloved mentor die again. I swear I'll make you proud, sir. Mirio sent his thoughts out to wherever Sir Night-Eye was. I'll work hard to ensure your final prediction, that I will become a great hero, becomes a reality. Both Snake and Fisher were experts in their field. Wiz began the explanation of the results. Snake may come second to Fisher's skills of silent assassination, but he far exceeds him in close-quarters combat thanks to his specialized training. Even then, he managed to trick Fisher up with his tricks, like with the cardboard box, Hagakure pointed out. Even though Sam was a master of blending into the shadows, Snake's solid eye had no trouble tracking him down, Boomstick stated. But wouldn't Fisher's multi-vision goggles be just as useful in tracing him? Kirishima questioned. There is a major difference between the solid eye and the multi-vision goggles, Izuku began explaining. The latter has sonar while the former uses radar. Sonar could help find Snake, but if he is as sneaky as he is, he can sneak up on Fisher undetected. But with radar, Snake can constantly detect and track Fisher from the radio waves from his subdermal implants. Shit, Kyoka cursed, somehow failing to notice that in her choice to vote for Fisher. What's more, Grimm's comm line has a history of being hacked into while Snake's codec does not, was pointed out. I guess telepathy, even tech-based telepathy, takes the win. Mandalay smirked victoriously at Pixie Bob, who rolled her eyes. But what about Snake's nanomachines and solid eye? Wouldn't they be disabled by the EMP blast? Boomstick questioned, pointedly. Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Kaminari nodded, raising his finger to point that out. Fisher literally chucked an EMP grenade at him that disabled his octo camo. Shouldn't it have worked on the rest of his gadgets? Actually, no, Wiz answered. EMPs are comparable to microwaves in how they affect electronics. When Snake was bombarded with microwaves, his solid eye survived for 2 minutes of non-stop radiation, while his nanomachines remained intact throughout the entire experience. A single EMP grenade doesn't quite stack up to a hallway of microwaves. How about that? Shoto muttered, smirking. Even if he did lose his nanomachines somehow, he didn't need them to beat Sam with his training from Big Boss, the most legendary soldier before Snake barbecued his ass and defeated his twin Liquid Snake, who was technically supposed to be stronger than Solid Snake, Boomstick added. Izuku and All Might smiled, imagining the same with the One for All and All for One clash. No matter what plans you have for your successor, All for One, they will fail and we heroes will prevail, All Might declared internally. Overall, Snake has a counter for anything Fisher could throw at him and had the edge in close-quarters combat, leaving this victory pretty straightforward, was stated. Poor Sam. This loss just kinda snuck up on him, Boomstick punned. Yeah, from the start, it was lights out for Sam. Double the puns, double the booze, Nijire muttered as she stuck both of her thumbs down. Kaminari perked up, his meme senses tingling a final time. The winner is Solid Snake, was announced. Claps of respectful defeat and victory rang across the gym. Damn, that has got to be my new second favorite death battle, Setsuna commented. What was the previous second one? Shui asked. Yoshi vs. Rip Tor, Setsuna answered. Is it because your fighter ripped or lost? Izuku asked, his smirk and eyebrow raise emphasizing his cheekiness. Maybe, Setsuna blushed. Mirio's voice came out muffled as he struggled in his chair. Shouldn't we free him already, Nijire-san? Amajiki asked nervously. Fine, the battle is already over, Nijire sighed. But if he makes another pun, he's staying like that for the rest of the session. As Amajiki and the others worked to free Mirio from his bondage, the video continued with the announcement for the next fight. Next time on Death Battle, Boomstick announced. The screen was black for a second before an iconic loud inhale and exhale of breath sounded, sending instant shivers down the spines of the group. The Imperial March theme played as an operation table slowly shifted vertically, revealing a very familiar black-robed, armored, and helmeted villain, staring blankly and breathing deeply at the screen. Izuku's eyes widened, his pupils shrinking to pinpricks at the very familiar villain. The theme continued as it changed to that of a green-robed, metal-armored man inspecting the sky at a series of jets heading toward his castle, only for the man to clench his fist, instantly exploding the planes. Other scenes showed him fighting against familiar faces like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Deadpool, holding back a beam of energy with his metal glove, and sitting on a throne menacingly. Darth Vader versus Dr. Doom. Darth Vader, Izuku breathed out. Luke's father. Luke, Momo repeated, shifting her gaze rapidly to Izuku. As in Luke Skywalker's father. Your counterpart's father. Izuku's nod answered her question. What about the other one? Mina questioned. Dr. Doom. That's a villain name if I've ever heard one. Actually, I think we've seen him before, Izuku muttered, flipping through his pages at rapid speeds until he found what he was looking for. Spider-Man's page. Right here. In Spider-Man's video, Boomstick mentioned that Spider-Man tossed an oil tanker onto someone called Dr. Doom. Yet another combatant from this Marvel universe, a supervillain at that too, Nizu hummed, frowning. Counting Beast in the video prior, and that would make the 8th character from that world. Toshinori frowned as he stared at the cloaked figure standing like a tyrant king on his dark throne. And that was after the fact that the other fighter was the evil Sith father of his protege's counterpart. I have a bad feeling about this, Toshinori thought. Without any complaints, Mei, likewise freed from her constraints, pressed the play button, continuing their session into the next video.